Hi guys, welcome to What's the Batter podcast. This is our second attempt at this. We tried to do it before Christmas and it didn't really pan out. A few things came up. So we're now back and we're going to have a right go at it again. So this is Callum, I'm Enrico, this is Fraser. And hopefully you like what we're doing. We're going to just talk about the chippy game, the takeaway industry and as a whole. The way things are going in the industry, the way it has been, how we got to where we are, and how we come up with this idea. So,
Good place to start then. So tell us about how you got to it, how Pepe's came about.
well, Pepe's came about because my family have a chip shop in East Kilbride called the Manhattan. We've been there since 1968, and my dad passed away in 2007. But prior to that, my cousin had passed away. So my dad was helping my uncle and everything, and the kind of family come together when somebody passed away. So I said I would help out my dad and my mum, which was, do you know what? It wasn't a long term plan. I thought I'm going to give him a hand, help out here and there, and I actually started playing golf. I got with the Scottish Italian Golf Club, and I liked getting a Wednesday off. It suited, so that worked for me. My dad and I go play golf and end up in the shop. Then my dad passed away, so I ended up in the shop, running the shop for my mum. While she kind of semi-retired, she was still young, so she decided to come back in, and then I ended up looking for my own place. Looked at a place in East Kilbride, the Village in East Kilbride. There was a shop. I'd pretty much agreed to take the lease on, and something else came up, and then the shop in Les Mihigo was the one that Christine was the one that pushed me to go. She went, "That's the place." I didn't really know it, didn't know too much about it compared to East Kilbride. Obviously born and bred in East Kilbride, lived there my whole life. I wasn't sure.
Listen, he goes a bit of a bold move considering if you're from a place like East Kilbride, it's such a big place, and Lismahago is obviously is a bit of a small village. At that time, you wouldn't have known that there was so many surrounding villages that could
No, didn't have a clue.
be customers. So it is a bit of a bold move to make that jump from a busy.
It really
East
was.
Kilbride's essentially a city these days, right? With how size
Huge.
it. So to make that move up to a wee village like Lismahago is a
It was wild. Like East Kilbride, I remember at the time we used to put menus out. So like you actually would remember where you'd put the menus through people's
that's
door. There was 30,000 houses in East Kilbride at that point. And I'm sure when we moved up to Lesmago at the time, it was something like 3,000 houses. And then we started going to like surrounding areas. And it was tough. You know, it was a complete culture shock compared to what you were used to. East Kilbride's very...
well,
It's a big learning curve as well because you didn't know anywhere. Like you didn't know different routes, different addresses, how to send deliveries and what order, all that sort of stuff. East Kilbride, you know exactly where you're going with all the deliveries and all that sort of stuff. So it was a big learning curve in that sense as well.
Do you know the thing as well was when I worked in East Kilbride, it was the street names.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
remember, and plus when we first opened Pepe's, it wasn't busy. It was really quiet, and the people that phoned were just people that usually phoned the place that was there before, so they didn't even know it changed. So that's like, I mean, if the shop in East Kilbride was to change hands, you would know. I think that's just like because it's got a reputation. At that point, it wasn't overly busy. So people were just phoning, they were just going, "It's up the tap." And I'm like, "Where's up the tap?" And it was like things you were saying, you're going, "I don't know where that is," right? So thankfully we had somebody who'd worked there already who was confident taking the phone, knowing where the addresses were. But again, like I'd worked in the shop at that point for a few years, helping my dad and working, but I was still at university. And the reason I ended up in the shop was because the credits run shit and I couldn't get a job. So between that and helping my dad and everything, like my dad passed away, there was a load of factors that I ended up in the shop full term, full time, because I was still working with Orange at the time when I eventually got the shop. I sold mobile phones for years, and it wasn't the plan. As I say, I was at uni, graduated, and then I was like, is this what I really want to do? Selling mobile phones. And the shop's good. The shop's a kind of job that it's not for the faint-hearted. It's people think you walk in, you sell fish, you sell fish and chips, and that's you, and you walk away. But there's a lot that goes into the prep. There's it can be lonely. It's especially at the beginning. I remember being in the shop by myself on a Friday all day in the morning. Person was in would leave, and then you'd be there for 3 hours yourself getting prepped, and then people would just walk in the shop. I mean, you lock the door, you shut the door, and people would just walk in. You'd turn around, and you wouldn't know they'd come in. You couldn't hear, and you would just walk out the front.
When you first got to the shop and the first couple of nights, obviously we weren't open, we were painting and stuff like that. And obviously the shop's not open. There's dust sheets over all the pans, the
Windows
doors
out the way.
closed, blinds down. Windows all covered, I think they were, with paper and stuff, weren't they? Clearly not open, ladders everywhere. We're up ladders painting and stuff. And the guy walks past every one of us, right up to the pans that are completely covered in dust sheets. He's like, fish supper, please.
I know.
What's going on here?
And the thing was, it was like, no, we're actually not open. And he looked at the shelves, because there used to be shelves down the bottom, and we're just going to use a glass bottle of iron brew. I was like, we didn't even have a till. The till wasn't even on at that point. I was like, you can just have it. It's all right. I was thinking, what? It was, but it is a different place to East Kilbride. East Kilbride's massive. It's plus, because my family been there so long, you know everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone that comes in. If you didn't know them, the people in the shop knew them. So up to Les Mago was different. You start to get to know a different kind of. It's a different mentality. It's a village mentality. So it's very much community based.
Yeah.
As much as Calderwood is.
Yeah. Everyone knows everyone, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
You'll find that even with the businesses in Les Mahigo, that most of the people that own a business in Les Mahigo are from Les Mahigo,
Yeah.
or the surrounding villages, so they all kind of know each other.
Yep.
Well, obviously I'm born and bred in Les Mahigo, so sometimes there's that element of who are these people, and it takes people a while to warm up to them
Yeah.
and get to know them. But then ultimately, in the end, they like to know who the boss is. And once they get to know a name and a face,
Aye.
then you'll start to find that they'll become a bit more regular and a bit more chatty and stuff like that. And I think it is just I think it's a kind of villagey thing.
Yeah, but do you know, it's a nice feeling, because in East Kilbride, they all knew my dad. Like everyone, even like Carlo started a new football team. Well, we played East Kilbride last year and then moved teams. But there's guys that were from Calderwood who still know my dad and remember my dad, and that's a nice thing. Whereas in Les Mahigo, it's like, and they know my mum as well, but they didn't really know us. But in Les Mahigo, they speak to us, and everyone will come in and talk to you. Really, there's nobody that doesn't really talk, and especially before COVID, we obviously opened the mornings. You would get more so in the morning. You would have people talking to you.
Yeah.
You'd have, but at night time you're a bit busier. You don't really get a chance. But things like the Highland Games, you don't get that in East Kilbride. I mean, how good is the Highland Games? I think
it's brilliant.
It's a great thing. It is.
And it's even like the memory used to the doors open. That was wild.
Ah, yeah.
But
That was good fun,
That was
actually.
good fun. It was busy. The street was busy, but stuff like that you don't have in East Kilbride. Like it's very. They've got their squares. The people stick to their squares. They've got the town centre, which is now not the same as what it was, just because everywhere's struggling with price of gas, electricity, utilities in general is just a fortune, unexpected cost. Like yesterday, obviously we've had this storm, and people don't appreciate that you know that's a small business closing the full day and losing their full takings, and people losing their wages and stuff like that, etc. You know, like that people don't understand that, and that's just certain places work differently, but it's obviously it's a real concern when you have a storm like that. You've got to take it seriously, but people don't appreciate it. They just expect people to close. So see, when you see some businesses opening, you can understand, because that's their livelihood. You know, they don't have another income coming in.
Yeah.
You
Especially the end of January. You know,
Yeah.
it's
I
a
know.
tough month.
Well,
End of
it's-
January on a Friday night
Yeah.
as well.
You
You know,
know,
it's been
it's-
14 weeks since Christmas. It feels like it's been
Yeah,
mental.
I know.
It was mental. But you know, the other one as well that got me was with some of the drivers we've got who are obviously like our drivers are self-employed, so it's up to them if they come in. But one of them works for a supermarket who wasn't going to pay them. Like if she didn't go back in and
Had
finish
to
her
go and
shift,
finish the
Like,
hours.
It's nuts.
and people don't see that. Like they would blame a small business for open, and they'd be annoyed at a small business for, but they can't see that when a supermarket opens back up and then force them to come back in because they weren't going to pay them. Like if they're in and they're in the shop or in the business, should I say, in their work, if they're there, they should be paid. If they're not open, I can understand that mentality of not paying because they're not making anything. So I can kind of get both points, but I just think like that's mental. It sums up how it's not just us that get affected with these
Yeah,
things
of
as
course,
well, you know.
that's
But it's
But then
you
you're
just-
talking about drivers that are self-employed as well. Like these guys, especially the ones that are doing weekends and stuff on top of a full-time job, they are relying on that extra income that's
Yeah.
coming in. So they need that extra.
There's a
So
reason they're
they've
doing
lost.
it.
Yeah, exactly. So they've lost that night as well.
I know. So
Now,
we
granted,
lost 2
obviously,
wages as well. I know.
we speak to the drivers and we make sure that they're comfortable with doing what they're doing, but ultimately they've lost a night's wages
know.
as well. Especially the ones that we are happy to come out
Yeah.
and still battle through it. So they've lost a full night's wages Do you know what I mean?
It was
So-
proper lockdown feeling though, wasn't
I know,
it?
yeah.
I was, I mean, we
I
we
was so
obviously
bored as well.
opened the full.
Monster crazy.
Yeah, we
Aye.
opened the full
Oh,
time
mate.
during lockdown.
Yeah, we were. I
But-
actually thought that yesterday about
How did people do it?
how did people do it? Because I had that was the feeling I had. I was like, day off. Usually, you'd either even jump into the shops or going down to Home Bargains or something, just having a look and picking
Yeah.
up some stuff, and you're like, can't even do that.
It was
Like,
wild.
it was just mental.
I felt myself looking out the window as if watch it, wait to
Crap.
see where's I been. You know, like just flying by. I'm
Yeah.
like, nothing was happening. But-
No.
And I don't know if it's where my house is situated that it's on a corner that maybe that's why. But then you look on like these Facebook groups and you're like, oh
Some
my
of the
word,
stuff
some
you're
of it's
seeing was
terrible.
mental.
Yeah, it
and you
was,
know,
Absolutely nuts.
But I think we're the same as you, but because we did get relatively lucky where we are, because the house is across where the road goes. I think it was like a wind tunnel, so it was like shearing down all the top of their roofs. Because I see them flying about, and I was like, oh no. But I think we got lucky. But it does show you that if it doesn't affect you like directly, but it was obviously something that we still had to take
and
seriously.
it was the right call because you wouldn't want your drivers out in that. You know,
No,
like I know. And
Well,
it-
I was looking on like other pages for like different places, like Lark Hall page for example, and people were commenting on posts saying that the deliveries were taking 3.5 hours and stuff like that. And that's what I said yesterday when we were making
Everyone-
that call. I was like, is it worth? Because we don't want people waiting that long.
No.
But we don't want the hassle of people constantly phoning when we're already busy. It adds that stress.
I know,
you know,
especially when nobody else was open.
And there was nothing else that we could have done.
And then
So
even, not even waiting that long, they might get to the situation where you genuinely can't get it to them as well, and someone's phoned up, paid for an order, they're sitting there
Yeah,
at
exactly.
home waiting for their dinner. You know, all the shops and stuff are shut as well, so they can't just jump out to the shops and grab something, and they're
know.
relying on us at that point.
On that,
But
note,
if the roads and that are that bad, then
there's
what
not
chance
much
have
you
you
can,
got?
not
Yeah,
much
you
you
know.
can do. Listen,
Did
when
you see
buses aren't
the-
even running.
I know, but did you see the supermarkets with no bread and no
I know, it was
milk?
crazy.
from
I mean,
the
it was one
from
day,
this Thursday
I know.
night,
but there
I
was
know.
not. I mean, who
I was
is that?
actually really annoyed because I went to make
Yeah.
a coffee in the morning and I only had the tiniest bit of milk left. And I
Is that
was-
mental?
couldn't even go to the shop to get some
So
milk. It was
Melody
just-
said to me she went to the shops on Thursday night, went to Morrison's, said it was absolutely cased out.
Carnage, yeah.
He said the car park was full, queue all the way up the aisles from the checkouts and the self scan and everything. Couldn't get any bread, couldn't get any milk.
It's
Nuts.
the same thing happens at Christmas as well when the shop shuts for one day and people go in.
Like
they're
Christmas
at
like-
least
people
they're
are
doing
coming
something.
round.
Yeah, at least
I
they're
know,
coming
I
round.
know
There
you've
was
got an
people there,
excuse
but
for
it.
it.
Was
aye.
like it was like lockdown with the toilet roll. Yeah,
That and hand sanitizer, and then people started bumping people with it, and I just can't go for that. See if that happened to me. If somebody said, right, your hand sanitizer yesterday was £2.99, but tomorrow's £20, you would never go back.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
I can't understand that.
Yep.
Like I just don't understand. Why would you go back and give them
all
that,
that
yeah,
extra
all
money.
that extra? No, even that, what,
Just
if you even had to during that you thought, right, I need to get hand sanitizer, I'm going to take that, but you would never give them the money again because they're
No.
just taking the wick out you.
Yeah, 100%.
The,
It was I was going crazy. I sent that to Fraser. I ended up watching the World Indoor Bowls Championship yesterday.
Who won?
Can't remember his name. Mark Dawes, number 6 in the world. He is.
There you go. That's
There you go. I know my facts now.
I
about
just
bowls.
watched
one for
Traitors.
him.
It was
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
Did you watch Traitors?
No, I've not watched it yet.
So good.
I've not watched it
It's
yet.
so good. Although I'm not happy with who won.
No, I'm
Really not,
angry.
but
I'm angry.
do you know what? It's
Justice for
somebody
Alexander,
has
that's
to
what I
win.
say.
Yeah, Alexander was great. Mina was amazing as well. Charlotte, I didn't like her, but she played that part amazing.
She did
So
so
it
well.
was, but you know, I was
I
waiting
don't
all
really
day
like that
for it.
they've changed it. I don't
I don't
like
like that
the
seer thing.
format.
Nah.
The format they've changed it to. You need to watch it, Fraser.
It's
Go back
right
and watch
over
it.
my head here.
I mean, that's nothing to do with takeaway. That's just like kind of.
I know, yeah,
digression
that's,
of
yeah,
that,
that's, yeah, that's
But,
his
um,
phone one, yeah.
But back to kind of how we got to. where we are.
I got asked a question last week. It's funny that it's at this time, but why you chose the name Pepe's?
All right, okay. So Pepe's my nickname in Italy from all my aunts and uncles is Pepe, and my dad was People. So he was People, and I was Pepe. So Pepe's, I didn't want to call it Pepe's. It was Christine said call it Pepe's because you know you're going to be in it, blah blah blah. And I was like, nah, I don't know, because you know you're kind of like you can see these shops are Enrico's or
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
the
Julio's,
names.
and it's just their
Or the-
names. I'm
or
like
the
that,
last name or
and I'm
something.
going. I said so. That's why. It's like, you know, it's a bit like self love. You love yourself that much that you're naming your business after you. Like, but not like, that was me just in my head thinking that it wasn't. Do you know what? It's a good name. It's simple. It's easy to get. You don't really get anyone getting it wrong. Like the Manhattan in East Kilbride, it's spelt with an E at the
Yeah,
end
so-
rather than an
yeah.
A. So, but Pepe's, that's why. So, and then my dad was People. So my nickname was Pepe. My cousin used to call me Pepe Di Cololo. So
Right.
Pepe, my mum's always called me Pepe. So I've had like this name stuck for years. That's why.
I owe
Did
this
you ever
person. I
actually
owe
have
this
any
person.
options? Other options and names? I don't
Chico's,
think I've ever known.
Chico's, 'cause obviously my
yeah.
nickname's Chico. Enrico's. I can't remember. I remember sitting out when we stayed up in, like in White
Middlefield.
Hills in Middlefield, like out the back. It was sort of one Sunday or something, and I had like a notepad. And I was drawing different like signs and different ideas and different logos and stuff, and nothing really took. And I thought Pepe's is dead easy. It's simple.
Yeah.
Like the badges obviously came on leaps and bounds from where it started. I know it sounds crazy, but where it started from that wee just a wee pizza guy to having like you get wee simple things like a mushroom inside your. You can play it, but you can change him into a footballer, a bowler, different things we can do. So I thought it was quite a good gimmick, and then the flag can go round. So I didn't have another name. Like there was nothing else that really stuck out. It was Christine said Pepe's is really catchy, and it's really catchy. It's one
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's short and to the point.
yeah.
I owe this person an apology then, 'cause I told them the wrong story.
Who was it?
Who was it? I think it might have been Iona actually. In one morning we were working. Yeah, I told her it was because of the dog. I always thought it was because
no.
of the dog.
So I do again. So we did have a dog called Pepe who I didn't want to call Pepe, but Christine loved the name Pepe. So she called him Pepe, and I'm going, Christine, people are going to be like that. You love yourself that much.
You've named your
You've
dog
actually
after
named
you.
your dog after you, right?
Yeah.
So your dog and your business. So no, Pepe was our dog, and that was the other reason why I didn't want to call it Pepe, because we've got a dog, but no one's going to know. But obviously, when my dad passed, we had Pepe. Pepe was a puppy. My dad passed away, so at that point we really struggled because we just moved. My dad passed away in the August. We moved house in the September. So much going on, and we had Pepe, who was a puppy, and we brought him up to our house, and our neighbours were a nightmare. They were really horrid at the time, like really horrid. It was like saying they were going to put a spade through his neck and stuff like that, because he was crying if you left. But you know, like a dog in the first 10 minutes can cry. So they were making up these stories, and it was chaos. So anyway, Christine's mum and dad said they would take him, look after him, and then it just became Christine was full time, I was working full time. You know, and the shop can be full on, so you weren't getting a chance to go up and take it out. It was unfair, so we ended up going with Christine's dad and mum for a while, and then we ended up, he came back, blah blah. So it was a shame, and then eventually settled with Christine's mum and dad, especially her dad. He loved him to bits, but it was definitely not because of that. He was just Pepe. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that was why.
Go.
I knew. I feel like now that we've told the story of the nickname, it rings a bell that I've heard that before, and I knew that. But then the dog, so I just told her it was because of the dog. So I
No,
don't need to go back and tell the actual story now.
and that's why, because we obviously opened up People's down in
Yeah.
Kirkmere Hill, which was a bit of a nightmare but People's was with different names, and we had Pepe's too, and then obviously COVID hit, so that shut that. And
Yeah.
it was just cursed from the minute we took the shop on, unfortunately, and then we
Never
had
just got a run at it, did we?
and then obviously we opened it back up as the other thing, and then it was People's, and then that the roof coming in and this insurance claim has just been horrendous, and people don't understand that. That's something we'll have an episode on that completely.
That's
right?
got to be a
Probably
full.
have a couple
That's got,
episodes on
yeah,
that.
But
that's got to be a
that
full
was something
episode.
you just don't expect.
That's
That's
not
why
going to
it was
be
People's.
I think it's going to be an episode as much. That'll be a therapy session, I think.
therapy,
Yeah.
you know,
For us all,
Yeah,
just for us to let go of the anger and the
and the
everything
frustration
that
but
comes
like,
with the place. Yeah,
So Pepe's and People's work hand in hand as well, because they're dead simple and
yeah,
names,
of course.
but people can get it. You don't get it wrong, you know. Like you can't really
Yeah.
get like. There's nothing worse than like obviously Enrico's my name, but people going Enrique,
Yeah,
right? Like I know Enrique really well, and you're going.
you don't
Yeah,
know me
yeah,
that
yeah.
well.
So well that you don't know his name.
Yeah.
It was like when my dad passed away, people used to come in and go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Me and Raphael were really pally," and I'm like, "Raphael, all right, yeah, you must have been really good pals." And then Ophelio. No. So yeah, so it's like that. So I thought Enrique. I don't want to hear Enrique and everyone go, "Is that because Enrique Iglesias?" I wish I looked like Enrique Iglesias. I
Don't we
genuinely
all?
wish, right? But no. So that Pepe's has worked. It's the only thing you get that really frustrates me is obviously Pepe's Piri Piris came out,
Ah, no.
Yeah.
and everyone's going, "Do you own the whole thing?" You're like, "I wish," but they go, "Oh, I love it." They check them, and that's not us. They actually copied our name. Oh, did they? Aye. So you're like, nah, I don't actually know if they did, right? But
Yeah.
they might have been somewhere else. But up here,
Should
no
have
one
had
knew
it
who they were.
copyrighted.
I know you don't think of those things.
Nah, no.
You don't think, but
I remember having a full blown. We went somewhere for lunch, and the girl serving asked me
Where was
Lodge,
it? Aye.
Glasgow.
It was, that's
Aye,
exactly what it was.
that's
And
right.
she asked me a question about Pepe's Peri Peri, and I didn't have it in me to correct her, so I just went with it. I was like, yeah,
Because
really
every time
busy,
you mention
yeah.
it, someone mentions.
We've obviously got the wee Pepe's car, and I remember taking the kids to school, and one of the teachers going, "My kids love it. We go there every Friday night." And I'm like that.
I've seen it before in my life.
All right, and obviously it's blue. It's like turquoisey blue and like cyan blue, whatever it is. And I'm like, the car's distinctive. I'm like,
Yeah.
you come into it, and I was like, unless we hate going, she's like, no, the one down in Mary Hill, or whatever it was, it should. And I was like, oh right. I was like, oh, that was busy. I was like,
Aye.
looking about as if I'll just go with it. But that's obviously red and black as well.
Yeah,
Is it red,
exactly.
black, and
Orange
yellow or
and
something
black.
like that?
Red,
I don't even know.
I think it's red and yellow. Well, the signs are all yellow,
never
aren't
been in
they?
it.
I've
I've
never
never
been in
been
it.
in it.
Aye,
I
it's
don't know.
red, it's red and yellow.
I've never been
that
in
or
it.
Black Rooster, everyone says.
Oh,
that-
Black Rooster is good.
People say that's good, but I've never been to either. of them.
The Black Rooster. The good thing about Black Rooster is I don't know if they still do it, but lunchtime they used to do like really good lunch deals.
But the other thing I was going to talk about was wanted to talk about was we had the remember the door shut. Remember, like we were saying out, people used to come in just like
Yeah,
around my
yeah,
head.
yeah.
And remember, I had the kind of bit at the
Oh,
front to
the
try and
bit
get some
that was-
fresh air in.
yeah,
Because remember, originally we
right.
didn't open the doors to
Yeah,
get it was
and it was
roasting.
so warm.
And you're all
Because
wearing a
the first,
mask as
The
well.
first 3 months of lockdown was the weather was amazing
I
at
know,
the start of
we didn't
lockdown,
see
wasn't
any of
it? But we were locked in the shop,
Yeah.
doors shut,
Do you remember
ceilings
we used to
just
have to
heat
take
up.
yeah.
about like
It was
half an hour to
50
everyone
degrees.
jump outside and get a breath of fresh air for half an
Aye,
hour. Like, so then you would go out and you were all stuck in your spot. I remember you had to like cordon off the
Ah,
shop with
with the
tape and all.
tape,
You had to
yeah.
stand there. Someone making fish, someone serving chips, blah blah. But then we put the wood up, and remember the people that used to like crawl under the bottom and go, "Can I get a fish supper?"
Aye,
We'd
we-
just
it was
look
like
up.
a
Pulling up and head over the top of it.
A big sheet of plywood with a couple of vents in it that filled the full door frame, and then a wee cut out at the bottom, just a sort of U shape that was maybe about a foot off the ground, just to let some air get through. And people are like
Underneath it.
sticking their head through. trying to get
Mate,
through
you
it.
get any pakora? Just go out. Just if you phone the shop, we'll get it ready and we'll bring it out to
Do you
you.
not remember?
Signs on the bit of plywood as well that they were putting their
Yeah.
head underneath to say, phone this number for your order.
Yeah. I remember a couple of Fridays and Saturdays when we actually had to go out and have a word with people because they were congregating round the door. When we actually
Congregating.
had to go out, yeah, the people were congregating at the black door. So none of the staff could get out, and some of the young girls would be coming in and going, I can't get out that door. There's like 20 people just standing there. Had to go out and be like, right, if you're here for an order, either stand in a queue or go back to your car and we'll bring it to
Yeah.
you.
Do you not remember? I remember the first day of lockdown. It was the first night of lockdown. We were all in our positions and nobody. It was fairly busy. Then the next day it was just me and Cammy, and we had about 30 deliveries in the morning. And I'm like, that, what the hell's going on here? And Cammy went out to deliver Coburn, KL, whatever, right, all over the place. And I came back and there was a guy storming up and down the front, like pacing, waiting. And I'm like, oh God, so I had to jump back in because obviously Cammy couldn't fry.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing, but he wasn't. I didn't know if he was comfortable. Like, that guy's been waiting for a king rib for 40 minutes. I was like, oh, you're kidding. So I went over and we ended up making he went to 2 king rib suppers, and I thought, this is chaos. In the mornings we end up having to get people in because it was just mental.
Drivers in
like,
the mornings, remember?
And we
aye.
tried to maybe still tried to keep that normality of having a break in the middle. And we would all sit. I remember we're all sitting on the floor, right, spaced out along the
know.
floor,
Yeah.
and the internet thing would just be beeping and
And you
beeping
would hear
and
that.
beeping and
And but
beeping.
remember, you
And the wall would be full before 4 o'clock. You
You
get
were
hit.
that far apart in the shop though as well. You had to actually send photos on our phones to go, you seen this?
Yeah,
Have you
I
seen
know.
that? Because you couldn't see each
Or
other.
if
You like
somebody
showed up
was
going,
somebody's over that way, he's like, "Can you go and grab me, whatever?" And then like, yeah, it was
pass it
just,
along.
You got on that counter for me.
Yeah.
it
and
was
then
chaos.
It
give
was
it a wipe.
brutal.
And
it was really tough. It was really hard to come to grips with as well, though. Like, it's obviously
it's a
if you're
completely
not
different
allowed
way of
out the
working
house
as
and
well.
stuff, yeah, it's a completely different way of working. We were just, it took us a while to try and, because obviously tensions were high as well.
Oh,
So tensions are high, and then you can only move 2 feet either side
and,
of
and
you.
don't like change.
I hate change, yeah,
Remember when
I
you
just
used to have
like,
the
yeah.
slips all the way down the pan, all the
Oh,
way
it's
out
hell.
down the side, all the way around the front pan. I'm like, that can't work. We need
No.
to have them into sections in these areas. No. It's like, we have to do it because there's no way we can do this. We'll not catch up. Because it was only delivery only, and you had everyone there. Then you had to remember areas phoning for delivery. Like we had like
Yeah, we set times for.
was it Ghost? Not Golston. what's it?
Chapelton,
and then what's the other one down in
Abington and Crawford.
Abington and Crawford.
Crawford, yeah.
You had to go down at 6 o'clock on a Friday, we'll do this delivery, and Saturday we'll do the same thing. And then people are moaning about delivery charge. You're going, but these guys are self-employed. They have to make their money. If they're
Yeah.
away and they could be making money here, like, they're not going to do it. They're coming out and risking their life as well, you know,
in the end,
because obviously this virus was so
We used to only
so
we had that
potent.
one driver that would come in specifically for that run.
yeah, I know.
So we can't send them down all that way down there, taking a couple of hours out of the night for a fiver. Do you know what I
They're
mean?
missing out on a load
I
of
know that,
deliveries.
yeah,
that-
and to go down, like, I mean, we are a long way away from Crawford and Abington.
Yeah.
And obviously, that was one thing when we moved up to Lesmago, I couldn't really get my head round, like, how can you be so different for your delivery charge?
Because we were just,
East
it was just
Kilbride's
one
like, it's
charge.
two different charges, really, right? It was like East
Even at
different,
that time, I
different,
think
it was
it was only
G75
one,
and
and then we
G74,
changed it.
yeah. So, but I was like, this is crazy. And then we had phoned a couple of places and bigger and different people that delivered down there, and they're like, yeah, we're £7 or £8, or I think some of them even £9 delivery, tenner delivery. I'm like, what? £10 delivery? So we would charge, I think it was a £5 delivery per, you know, wasn't it? It was £5
I
delivery.
think it was a
And then
fiver.
they would go down with maybe 5 or 6, or maybe even sometimes it was 10, right? And they're like, but they're making £50. I'm like, but they're coming down per order. So if they only had one, they would only make the £5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You know, so that's like the risk they're taking. And I'm going, but you're getting charged for if you go to bigger for one that, but they're coming down with one. I'm like, but there's no chance anyone sends you down with delivery. Like we obviously work where we try and send drivers out. Like, it's not like Just Eat. Like, we're Just Eat, you go out and the driver goes and picks up one order. I think they allow you to pick up 2 orders now if you're a Just Eat driver. But we'll send out a few deliveries at a time. But obviously we've invested heavily in foil bag and everything, double wrapping, the hot bags that are 90 degrees for an hour. And I mean, that's phenomenal. Like, there's no way you go, it's going to take you an hour to drive to, and the stuff's made up fresh before it goes. And like, all that has to go into it. They're sending down one order. There's no way they're going to do it. So people work differently. We try and send out more, and they're going down with 4 or 5 deliveries. They could be up in Kirkmere Hill, like delivering to Kirkmere Hill with 12 deliveries at one time.
Yeah.
For $2.75.
Yeah,
A
you know what I
delivery,
mean?
you know.
And the thing
yeah.
is,
In
and
Kitmar some of your deliveries can literally be either in the same street or right
yeah,
round the
exactly.
corner from
You know,
each
like,
other. So
you know, and you're like, and it has to get done that way. There's no other way of doing it, because people will be waiting all night as well, and it works because those bags are so good, and everything that we do invest in it works. You know, we're not sitting there like I know a lot of takeaways can get away. No, the chippies cannot get away with making your food up and sitting there, because the batter will sweat.
Yeah.
So
Something
it'll
like
come
a
off.
curry. sitting in
Yeah, a
it
curry will
top's
sit
fine.
and it can sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and that's fine. That works well, and you wouldn't taste the difference,
No.
right? Whereas a chippy you would. So like that's why we have to work with making it up as they
make it
go.
as it goes, yeah.
Remember we went on the TikTok lives, and people couldn't believe like how busy we were because of the way we work as well. Like we obviously the way that we work creates a monster for ourselves as well, because
It's constant.
as in you could have like 50 sausages up in the gantry like some places do, and then people won't come in and grab it, but it takes away the quality, and it's also the waste. Like nowadays, like lockdown taught a lot of things, like you don't want the waste at the end of the night,
that's
how
it,
much
yeah,
stuff you'd
that's it.
have, and that's money coming out of like
You used to not really think
business.
twice about it as well. See, at the end of the night, obviously, like you would try and run stuff down as the night went on and put a bit less up there. But if you had 4 sausages, a pizza crunch,
Yeah.
a pie or whatever up there at the end of the night, and half a box of chips,
Yeah.
you wouldn't think
follow
twice
anything
about it.
else.
You're just
Whereas
like,
now,
that's a
like,
waste, and then
You were
Now-
always just relying on people coming in and saying, "Oh, what have you got left?" or whatever.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
stuff
and also
like that,
I
but
think people's attitudes were a wee bit different before lockdown as well. That they weren't willing to wait on something getting
yeah,
made for them, you know. Whereas kind
Now
of when
it's
we started
changed.
working the different way and everything was fried fresh to order, people are more understanding of that now,
obviously
and they
because
appreciate it because it's fresh and it's
Yeah.
better quality.
like so like it's nothing against people leaving stuff up there, but if we're also in an area where we don't have a lot of
Footfall.
footfall.
Yeah.
It's like a wee village. It's in the middle of a main street. We don't have a lot of housing around. It's not a scheme, or it's not a square. Whereas down where we are, you know, so you have, if we've got stuff sitting up there, someone's quality is not going to be as
yeah,
good.
that's it.
Places can get away with it, and it works for them because they've got a lot of
Just
people going
do you
in.
know what? It annoys me though. See, like when you see places on like TikTok, for example, and they're flexing how busy they are because of how many sausages they've got up in the gantry, and I'm just like, I don't know why. It just
It's
so
not
it's
much
so
effort to make some
frustrating.
sausages, and
But what happens if you're that person that goes in there and gets the last 2 sausages?
Do you know what?
Anybody can go in there and fry a box of sausage and be like, oh, look how busy we are.
But like reheating,
Yeah,
I mean,
not
it's like
right.
when you get accused of reheating stuff. I'm like, we've never reheated
Never,
anything.
yeah,
You know, we
never.
don't reheat. It's just not something we do. And
You
it's,
tend to find it. Like, you might find as well that some places see if somebody phones for an order, right, and it's a prank call, or there's a problem with a delivery, somebody didn't get the right thing or whatever, you maybe find that some places will reuse that stuff,
Yeah.
right? We just bin it, not even any questions asked. And then people are like, why do you want that stuff back? And as if like they think that you're reselling
Gonna
it.
reuse it,
But it's the same as if you're sending something back for a shop. See, like if
Yeah,
you buy
yeah,
a
return
jumper, for
something.
example,
Yeah.
and it's got a rip in it, right? And they'll say, or it's not the right size. You have to send that back before you get a new one. They don't just say, I'll just keep that and we'll send you another
Do
one.
you know what? It's that
Yeah,
funny one.
'cause not that these people that are phoning back are doing that, but you always run the risk of someone taking the piss there.
Yeah, that's
and
it,
just saying,
that's it.
"Oh, I got a fish up on something up with it,"
Yeah.
but then they're
And
eating
then
that
they get
fish up
another
and get
one.
another one for their mate.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. The thing as well as though is, see, I remember I had a person complain that they wanted it taken away because it was taking up too much space in their bin.
That's right, aye.
Just like that. But
That's right.
all right, okay, so that's why we do it. Like, there's something in a lot of us we do that as well because you can't really win. Some people can be really fickle, you know. Some people, like we had somebody who wants the stuff kept. You know, you made a mistake, so we should keep it. I'm like, I can see the kind of theory, but we made a mistake on one item. You're not going to take but you want the full order changed.
Yeah.
Right, but and we're human, you know. We all are human. And when you're busy, some of these slips, thankfully, we don't. Our Just Eats get integrated into the till, right? Which makes it much easier. But those Just Eat slips are torture to read. And
yeah.
See, you find that when the Just Eat
They
sometimes
come
doesn't connect
through,
to the
aye,
till
you
when
need-
there's a couple of problems, and like for instance when they do updates, sometimes they need to like fully restart it. And the Just
Remember-
Eat slips, and you have to print like 4 of them for pizzas, kebabs, one
That's
next
right.
door.
I was going to say that.
it's-
Remember, you're putting those ones through, and then they're never in any order or anything
no,
as well.
exactly. And
so,
you look and the dips are like down
Yeah.
here and stuff, and it's they're hard work. I don't know how
I
I
other
don't know how
places
many
do
times
it.
during lockdown, how many times I missed a calzone or something off
Yeah,
of the
that's
Just Eat slip.
That's why I'd like that. The idea of this is good because people get to see the kind of behind the scenes of not the behind the scenes, but kind of talk about what we do.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to see how other people have how they do their deliveries. I remember Carlos Santi's dad telling me when he got a delivery driver, he put an order out and they had that chip in Barhead, and it was they had a driver looking for a driver, and this driver comes in and he's like, "Aye, I'll do it, no problem at all." I was like, "No worries, we'll take this one," right? So he goes out and hey, is he? It's only up the road. Fucking hell, where is he? He says, just looks out, sees a bus going by, and he's sitting with the order just and the bus driving by. Like, I mean, imagine you're getting your delivery and the guy
And the guy
turns up
jumps
in a
off
bus,
the bus.
right?
Bus.
But you're waiting to try and find where the driver is,
I know.
and you see a fucking bus driver.
on a
You see him
bus.
on a fucking bus. Like, things like that. Like, see when you hear these stories down at the golf, it's just dead funny. Like,
Yeah,
I
it
remember I
puts
worked
it into
in
it.
Mr. V's for Angelo, and he goes right across for the what's that hospital down? Is it Southern?
Yeah, so
No, the Vicky.
Victoria,
Right across for the
Vicky.
Vicky.
Yeah.
And he said that somebody phoned up and was like that. And Angelo's bald, right? Completely bald. Has been for years. And he's like, listen, mate, I get chips and curry, and there was a pube in my chips. And he's like, a pube? He was like, how do you know it's a pube? I can tell a pube, mate. And he's like, but I'm telling you, I am head to toe. Not got a hair in my body, right? He's like, he's like that. I'm telling you, mate, it's a pube. But I think what's happened is, because he worked in the hospital, the guy went, someone's went in and got a pube from like maybe a patient, and he's put it in your curry sauce to wind you up. And I'm like that. What? I mean, he's telling me this, and I'm going, first of all, why would that be your first
That's
thought?
your
It's
first
somebody-
thought,
it's a
I've
patient,
done that,
not
yeah.
to themselves, right? But a patient. At any point, you would do any of that, right? But like, see, when you hear some of these stories, you're just like, wow. Like my uncle, like Orlando, he was like that. A guy phoned him and said that he got a chicken. You know, sometimes the chicken a bit red.
Oh.
Right, obviously, it's meat, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It was gushing the blood and spitting blood out. And he's like, "My fucking don't believe it. That shit, man. A fucking blood coming out your chicken. Fuck off." All this. But you can imagine how frustrated you are on a Friday night.
I know.
And someone's phoned
somebody
to say
says
it.
that to you. Yeah,
Like,
I know.
And he's got, I've told you a story before about hunters and hunters and hunters of salt and vinegar. I'm like, no problem at all. So then the woman phoned back and said there wasn't enough salt. I was like, that. What? That's when I worked in East Kilbride in the beginning. I'm going, do you not have salt in the house? And my dad came through. I thought he was going to kill me because he's like, don't say that to them, man. You fucking crazy, man. You fucking stupid. I'm like, but it's something like a lot of salt to me might not be a lot of salt to
A lot
them.
to somebody else, yeah, that's
it's subjective, but also like remember the women from the high rise flats,
Oh,
Hunters
brown sauce.
and Hunters and Hunters, a brown sauce. So to the point where I used to like put a hole in. Let's say it was a
It was
hamburger.
a steak pie.
But
That
she
was
used to
it.
hamburger as well. She would put a bit like squirt the
Inside
the
it.
brown sauce inside it, so that when she went to eat it, then she went back. She went, I didn't mean fucking that much. I was like, oh sorry, I just thought you wanted loads.
Oh, is it?
So then
So
Yvonne was
way-
like, there's no way we're doing this. But she's like, no way we're doing this anymore. she's getting it charged for a bottle of brown sauce because it was that much. It was
Yeah,
I
like
was
it was
just about to say that's the only customer ever that's ever been charged for brown sauce
ever.
in one of the shops.
Like, it was,
Like,
Yeah, it's not
I've
something
never
that you
seen
do.
anything like it in my life. The amount of brown sauce. It was
Just to put it into just to get a steak pie quite a lot and stick the nozzle into the steak pie and squeeze it until it started busting out.
That must have been disgusting.
And that's what you wanted.
I mean, I enjoy
Like,
brown sauce, but that must have been disgusting. Sorry.
sauce in general. You too much sauce.
Ah,
There's got to be a limit.
Less
but
is more.
that
the,
and then getting it delivered as well.
I know.
people think the chippy's not a real job as well, right? It's I can't get through my head how working in a restaurant seems a better job than working a chippy. It's
Yeah,
like,
or
we're
working
not,
in a supermarket is
yeah,
any more
it's
of
the
a
same
job.
wage
Yeah.
you get, right, for a start. Like everything's on minimum wage or whatever. If people, some places pay more, we obviously do different things. Like we've got different bandings, but like they think that working a chippy is different. But it's years ago it was a different kit. Like maybe 20, 30 years ago it was, maybe 15 years ago. But it's a different thing now because you're working, and we don't have we're not, it's you can use the obviously we've got that slogan of what is it that we're no average chippy. It's not your average chippy. We're not like we try and push out the shop to be a big better than the Manhattan is an institution in East Kilbride.
Yep.
But we're like winning awards. We're getting taken down to London. We're getting taken to Ireland and stuff like that because we are good at what we do. And it's stuff that's really like we're pushing us to be as best we can. And a lot of chippies are doing that. There's a lot of chippies out there using social media to push. The Manhattan wouldn't do it. They've got social media. They take the mickey with it, which I think is good to do.
Yeah, it's good.
like,
Yeah.
'cause
Something about I think people, especially these days, take themselves far too seriously on social media. Because I think we like to kind of portray our personality through our social media and our
Definitely.
TikToks and stuff. Like our stuff's just a pure joke. Obviously, there is some serious aspects when we've got new products coming out, or if we're trying to convey a kind of serious issue. But at the same time, we like to have a laugh and a joke with it.
I mean, like this
But
post
there is
coming out
people that
today,
are, yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, this burn supper one. So when you see that, it's and it's chaotic. Like there's
No
nothing to it.
context
There's
to
no
it whatsoever.
no
context.
sense.
It's a pure piss take.
Yeah.
And that's the things that people catch on to see in
Yeah.
social media. They'll be like, oh, terrible amateur acting. Oh, fuck off. We're making fish and chips for a start. We're
We're not actors.
We're not actors, right? We're here to have a laugh and get our business name out there. And that's what East Kilbride have done a wee bit. And then people are going, you've copied this chippy down south. I don't know what chippy it is, the one that's like the girl that's
Oh, that
Oh,
diva.
yeah,
the,
yeah.
the chippy diva, right?
Chippy
And you're
diva.
like that, which is great.
don't get the hype, though.
They've got onto it. They've done well. And do you know what? I am not an envious person. I'm not a jealous person. See if someone's doing well, I'm
good
glad.
on them.
There's a lot of people who are really jealous of people and worry and go, they're doing this. It doesn't bother me. You can only look after yourself. If we look after what we're doing and we look after our customers, you'll do right. But in the long run,
What we should just start doing on the topic of talking about customers and whatever, we should just start doing a come to work with us experience. Charge a customer to come work in the shop for a day.
charge a customer. A
Yeah,
tour.
I'm telling
tour.
you, yeah.
And this
They
is
can
this
come
is a
and they-
stock room.
What, no,
No,
they
but they
do
can
it
come
like
in
a
and-
masterclass.
Yeah.
A fish and chip masterclass.
that'd
And they
be
come
good,
in and then they see how you work,
Yeah.
and then maybe there'll be a wee bit more understanding of stuff.
We're off on a tangent again, but I
Yeah.
think going forward, it'd be good to have kind of ideas. Like anyone that's watching, maybe have questions for us. It'd be good to kind of talk to us
That's
about
what
it.
that's what I was going to say. I think what we're looking for is people to give us a bit of feedback, what
Yeah.
they've liked to see, what they want to hear, and also from suppliers or reps from suppliers, stuff like that. See what they think of this, and as much feedback as possible
Yeah.
to see. Well, hopefully we've done a better job than we did the first time.
Aye.
Anyway. So we'll see what our man Curtis sends us over this week, and we'll see how it's came out. But any feedback or anything that anybody has picked up on that they want to hear more of or want to hear less of, we want to hear it all.
Yeah,
I think we want to hear the
definitely,
good and the bad.
yeah.
Big time.
So and we can see what happens. But on the last note, we've obviously got a few people that we've spoke to that are happy to come on, and we want to get people from different areas, like our suppliers and stuff like that, or people that work in different shops, or people that have
Different
maybe
cuisines.
worked in a shop before, and give all their different insights to how they work
different
in
perspectives
and
and
different
stuff like that.
perspectives. Yeah, just to give people an insight of that it's more than just turning up at a shop.
Yeah.
There's more to it. So yeah, put it out there and see
See
what
what
people
goes.
See
come
what
back
people
with.
think. Yep.
Yeah, that's all we can do. But we'll call it a day there. Yeah.
Would you have what was your slogan again? Is it not? That's a wrap. Is it?
No, what was that?
We wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Yeah,
There you go.
there we go. And that's copyrighted, so there we go. Let's wrap it up there. Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.